Prepare for an exhilarating ride as we delve into the world of UFC and imagine what could have been, with the rumored matches that had fight fans salivating at the mere thought. These are the rumored UFC fights that should have gone ahead. Had they come to fruition, they would have been epic, high-stakes showdowns, each more electrifying than the last. From the explosive power of heavyweight titans to the lightning-fast techniques of featherweight assassins, these rumored bouts were the perfect blend of strength, speed, and skill. From a clash of two legendary champions to a matchup of unstoppable forces, these fights were expected to be some of the most entertaining and exciting battles in the UFC's history. But for one reason or another, they never transpired. So, buckle up and join us as we explore the UFC's missed opportunities and visualize the magnificent mayhem that could have been. Now, envision the octagon with two legends of the game. They were poised to collide in a highly anticipated super fight that had fans on the edge of their seats. The electrifying energy of the crowd, the pulse-pounding anticipation as they awaited the ring of the bell. Yes, we're talking about the dream matchup of the unstoppable force, Georges St-Pierre, and the relentless whirlwind, Anderson Silva. A bout that was once the buzz of the town, but never came to fruition. Just picture the exchange of strikes. Two legends of the sport. Two all-time greats are about to collide. Georges St-Pierre, the Canadian sensation who dominated the welterweight division for years, and Anderson Silva, the Brazilian beast, who ruled the middleweight class with an iron fist. With a combined record of 66 wins and only 6 losses, these two champions were set to write their names in the history books. But why did this fight never happen? Well, it's a question that still torments fans to this day. Despite being offered millions of dollars, the fight was never assembled. A neglected opportunity for fans. But the legacy of these two warriors will always live on. And now, we shift our focus to the mythical collision course between two of the greatest heavyweights to ever grace the octagon. Fedor Emelianenko versus Brock Lesnar. Imagine two of the biggest and baddest fighters of all time, squaring off in the octagon. It was a fight that had fanatics on the edge of their chairs. But unfortunately, it never came to reality. Fedor Emelianenko, the pride of Russia, is a legendary heavyweight fighter with 39 wins and 6 losses. He was the former Pride heavyweight champion and is viewed as one of the grandest mixed martial artists of all time. On the other hand, we have Brock Lesnar, the beast of the octagon, who made a name for himself in the UFC with his dominant style. With a record of 5 wins and 3 losses, he was the former UFC heavyweight champion and one of the biggest draws in the sport. The anticipation for this fight was sky high, as fans couldn't wait to see these two behemoths collide. Unfortunately, due to various reasons, including contract negotiations and Lesnar's move to WWE, the fight never took place. It's a disgrace that we never got to see what would have been an epic battle between two of the biggest names in MMA history. But who knows? One day this rumored fight will become a reality. Until then, we can only imagine what could have been. Jon Jones versus Anderson Silva. Could you even speculate? This fight would have had fans on the edge of their seats, just conceiving the epic exchange of strikes between two of the best in the game. Jon Jones, aka Bones, is a former UFC light heavyweight champion with a record that's hard to beat. 26 wins, only 1 loss, and 1 no contest. On the other hand, Anderson the Spider Silva is a former middleweight champion, harboring the longest title reign in UFC history with 16 consecutive wins. Both fighters have unique fighting styles, and their careers have been marked with jaw-dropping moments and awe-inspiring performances. But why did this fight never transpire? Well, it's a humiliation. But due to weight and scheduling conflicts, this highly anticipated bout was never made official. Fans were massively disappointed. But their admiration for these two greats still remains unchanged. Imagine the fireworks that would have exploded in the octagon if John Jones and Anderson Silva had faced each other. You and I can only fantasize about what could have been. Conor McGregor versus George St. Pierre. This fight was highly anticipated due to the contrasting styles of these two legends. Conor McGregor, the flashy Irishman, known for his knockout power and brash trash talk. And George St. Pierre, the man you know from earlier in the video, a calculated and technical wrestler from Canada. Conor, a former two-division champion, boasts a record of 22 wins and 4 losses, with 19 wins by KO or TKO. But these accomplishments fail in comparison to GSP's, who retired as a champion in both welterweight and middleweight divisions, holding a record of 26 wins and 2 losses. Fans were eager to see the striking power of McGregor against the grappling skills of St. Pierre. Unfortunately, the fight never materialized, entirely due to scheduling conflicts and negotiations falling through. Oh, what could have been. Can you imagine the excitement of these two powerhouses encountering the octagon? It begs the question, what would have happened if these two warriors had stepped into the cage together? We'll never find out. Now we transition from the dominant ground and pound of Khabib to the lightning-fast striking of Tony. We prepared to glimpse a clash of styles unlike any other. Brace yourselves for a whirlwind of fists and fury as two MMA legends collide in the octagon. The duel was one of the most highly anticipated in UFC history. Khabib, the dominant champion, is undefeated with a record of 29 wins and 0 losses. Tony, a destructive finisher, is known for his unorthodox style and 13-fight win streak. These two warriors were destined to clash. But, as we all know, the fight never happened. Fans were left to ponder what could have been. Khabib, who steamrolled through opponents with his relentless grappling. Tony, a knockout artist with a striking arsenal, thrilled fans with his unpredictable and flashy finishes. The MMA world was buzzing, eager to see these two legends collide. But despite 5 scheduled attempts, the fight never came to fruition. Whether it was injuries, weight cuts, or even personal issues, the fight was always just out of reach. Fans were left disappointed, but the legacy of these two warriors lives on. Khabib retired with an impressive record of 29-0, and Tony continues to electrify the octagon with his dynamic fighting style. The matchup will forever remain a UFC dream fight that never came to fruition. Despite these missed opportunities, fans still hold out hope for some of these fights to happen one day. Why do you ask? Because these fights have the potential to be epic and go down in UFC history. So, what's the impact of these missed fights on the UFC? Well, it's a mix of disappointment and unfulfilled expectations. Fans were ready to see these matchups, but the UFC missed out on all of the potential profits and viewership. But in the end, the UFC is still a powerhouse in the world of mixed martial arts. They continue to bring us exciting and thrilling fights. So, there you have it, folks. Those were the rumored UFC fights that should have gone ahead.